Hello my friends, and welcome to the Fairy Stamper YouTube channel. Katie here from Eastwick's Paper and Ink, and today, in honor of National Reading Awareness Month, I decided for today's project I would create these cute bookmarks for the young readers in my family. I hope you enjoy. So the products I'm going to be using are several of the greenery type stamps. And so I've got the wooden walkway, the hanging vines, the lantern tree, the fantasy flowers, the fairy house, the lantern set, and Sienna the fairy. And I've cut up some heavyweight cardstock in Neenah Classic Crest, 110 pound, for my bookmarks, and they measure 2.5 by 6.5. And for my ink blending, I'm going to, for this panel, I showed 4 different panels. I did 2 each of the same. So this color scheme is going to be the antique linen, Victorian Velvet, Seedless Preserve, Chip Sapphire, and black soot. And I didn't include the blending of all the panels or even both color schemes because each panel took me about 10 minutes to blend, and I've sped this portion up about 3 times because again it's more of a marathon, not a sprint when it comes to ink blending, and it does take time. The other thing is I have to say that this paper is not my favorite to ink blend on. I actually prefer a hot press watercolor paper, and these were just handy scraps that I had to be able to use, so I didn't want to cut up watercolor paper to ink blend. Now these ink blended just fine. They're splotchy, they're going to look that way because they're dye inks and you're using a heavyweight cardstock, but they will blend in and get rid of that splotchiness as the ink dries and absorbs into the cardstock, so no worries there. So here I'm coming in with the Seedless Preserves, and I'm bringing that right up into the Chip Sapphire because it really creates this really pretty purpley blue color when the two of those are mixed together. And then in the end I end up bringing in just a little bit of black soot over the top because it really deepens up the Chip Sapphire. I think that these 2 color schemes that I did, really, this one in particular that we're working on now, creates a really pretty night sky theme. So I meant to like sprinkle up some perfect pearls or some whitewash or something like that to give it on these darker ones the starry effect. I just didn't do that, so that's an option that you could add. Now here's all 4 of the panels, and for the golden sunset ones, that ink color combination is Fossilized Amber, Spice Marmalade, Picked Raspberry, Seedless Preserve, a little bit of Chip Sapphire, and a very little bit of black soot just on the edges to deepen up the purple and the blue. And the Chip Sapphire, there's even very little of that as well. So now we're just going to get into the stamping. So here I used the wooden walkway and the lantern tree, and that tree's not quite tall enough to come up to the top, but I was okay with that. I didn't mind. We're going to be punching a hole in that, and I just thought that it looked really pretty, keeping that space up there on the top. And for the black ink, I showed the VersaFine Clair Nocturne, and I do use that for all of my stamping. Now, the last piece I'm going to put in this particular bookmark is the lantern, one of the small lanterns. It's a 2-piece set, and I just thought that finished it off really nicely. And for the second panel, I am going to use the more of the golden sunset, and I'm going to be using the hanging vines, and I just use the one and I just stagger it, so I put the full vine all the way down, and then I just bring it up and stamped a little bit above it. Now, one of the things that's cool about these silhouette stamps is if you're unsure of how something might look, you can take your acetate that's it has the print on it, and you can, you know, like I showed you, you can put it over top and see if you'll actually like it before you take the time to stamp it. And I thought that Sienna looked really, really pretty against that sunset background. So I'm just going to ink her up with the VersaFine Nocturne ink, and then that bookmark's going to be done. Now, I didn't get a great impression, but I knew that my panel had moved a little bit, and so I didn't want to risk it. And so those are all the panels stamped up. And again, I used the fairy house for one of them, and the corner, I think it's called the corner vine, ivy corner is what that one is. And then the other one I just did very simple with the fantasy flowers. I thought that was really, really pretty. So here I'm just setting up to laminate them, and I'm just using a very inexpensive laminator, and I think these are even just 3mm laminator sheets. So my favorite trimmer to really be precise is this Fiskars trimmer. Actually, most of the Fiskars trimmers that are like this, where you have to slide the blade, has a wire guide in the track or on that piece that I'm flipping up where the blade goes down, and it lines up everything perfectly so you can see exactly where it's going to trim up. And now I'm just going to add some simple gray ribbon for a little tassel, and that's going to finish it up, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Links to all the products used are going to be in the description box below, as well as our Fairy Stamper Facebook group. So please click that link and head over and follow us and show us your wonderful projects. We love, love, love looking at them and commenting on them. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to ring the bell and select all notifications if you haven't yet subscribed, and that way you'll be notified each time a video has been uploaded. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next video.